If you can get what's going on in this animation, you're basically destined to be a millionaire. In the middle of a raging storm, 6 pigs are chowing down in fancy suits like they're straight out of a posh party. And get this, a human is serving them. The pigs are stuffing their faces like there's no tomorrow, while skinny little kittens under the table are just hoping for a scrap. When they finally score a morsel, the other cats are all over it like vultures. So where's all this food coming from? The chef's tossing everything in the room into this crazy machine. If it looks a bit light, he even dumps in stuff from the drawers. He cranks it up, and smoke starts pouring out. Before long, there's tons of delicious food. The pigs keep eating like they're bottomless pits. With so much food around, they toss a few meatballs to the cats. One black cat manages to snag a meatball, but it drops under the table where the cats can't reach. While the rich pigs are gorging themselves to the point of exploding, the poor cats are starving to the brink of death. Desperate, it makes a daring move and squeezes into the chaos. What it sees next is jaw-dropping. All the big shots are shackled up with these gnarly, tangled iron chains. They're so messed up that pulling one chain affects them all, and they're totally stuck. And get this, the lock on these chains is alive and eyeballing the black cat. It snaps at it and swallows the cat whole. Just like that, the black cat's gone forever. Meanwhile, the chef's tearing apart the room stuff to keep feeding the big shots. When they're in a good mood, they might toss a bit of food to the kittens on the floor. But with the big shots gorging themselves, the chefs had to use things like chandeliers and bricks for ingredients. Even then, the food's running low, and the big shots are getting cranky. They chase off the begging kittens in a rage. The kittens gather around one of the big shots with glasses, hoping for a handout. But instead of tossing them food, the pig grabs a mouse toy. What's he planning to do with that? Why can the pigs feast while the cats are left starving and skeletal? The rich pigs have just tossed the cats a wind-up mouse to fight over. Meanwhile, the chef's playing handyman, constantly tearing down one wall to fix another just to keep the big shots fed. The pigs keep gorging themselves at the table, while the kittens scrounge underneath, begging in vain. But it's all for nothing. They're not getting any food. When the last plate of meatballs finally disappears, the pigs are left with nothing. They all grab their forks and knives and start complaining loudly, demanding the chef bring more food. But with the plates empty and no food in sight, the chef's hands are tied. The storm outside rages on, and the restaurant's walls are completely gone. The pigs exchange nasty looks, their true colors showing. The lead pig finally grabs a plate and, ditching all pretense, starts munching on the leftover scraps. The other pigs, shedding their former elegance, hungrily lick their plates clean. The high society pigs have devoured every last bit of food, and are now even eating the plates. They're fighting over a leftover apple core. Meanwhile, the starving kittens on the floor are the ones really in need of a meal. Desperate, the black cat leaps onto the table, trying to scavenge some scraps. But the big shots toss it off without a second thought. More and more kittens jump up and start fighting back. Eventually, one of them transforms into a fierce tiger. This isn't a Hello Kitty moment, it's the real deal. It pounces on a big shot wearing a wig and, amid the screams, takes him out. The other pigs try to escape, but they're all chained up and stuck. They end up meeting their end at the tiger's claws. Once the tiger's had its fill, it curls up on the table and falls into a comfy nap. Just then, the chef, who's been hiding behind the machine, finally steps out. He stabs the tiger with a small knife and rescues the poor kittens trapped inside. He then gathers the rest of the kittens into a hat and opens another room that looks almost identical to the first, same lavish decor and all. If you can understand this animation, your IQ must be over 180. Have you ever seen cats turn into pigs? The chef releases the kittens, and then something magical happens. These kittens actually transform into the very image of the big shots. They push aside the chairs and find their seats. Still the same 6 pigs, looking exactly the same. The lead pig distributes the cutlery to everyone. They raise their glasses in a toast, and the table is once again piled high with lavish food. Meanwhile, the poor kittens remain on the floor, and everything starts over just as before. Outside, the storm rages on, heavy rain and thunder shaking the hotel perched on the cliff. But how long can this hotel hold out? At the start of the short film, there's a line that says, "Those who eat their fill speak to the hungry of wonderful times to come." What a bitterly ironic statement. There's no true empathy in the world. This might be the pinnacle of empty promises. They've enjoyed the highest luxury but share nothing with the kittens, only offering them empty hope and promises. They keep painting a rosy picture, making the kittens believe that if they just keep trying, a brighter tomorrow is just around the corner. If you can figure out this animation, you're probably on your way to becoming a millionaire. The high society pigs are all about stuffing their faces. They only toss a little food to the kittens when they're in a good mood, but most of the time, the pigs are just indulging themselves. The hotel's decorations, like the chandeliers and the mini planes, trains, and ships on the table, symbolize society's resources. The big shots keep greedily hoarding and monopolizing everything, squeezing out all the value. Eventually, the resources run dry, and that's when the pigs' true colors show. They become fierce, selfish, and brutal, determined to drain every last bit of resource, completely ignoring the starving kittens struggling below. From start to finish, the pigs consume far more than they should. The kittens, representing ordinary people scraping by at the bottom, are the ones who should actually have enough to eat. Instead, they do the hardest work and get almost nothing in return. Using pigs as the symbol makes sense because pigs are the epitome of greed. If you can get what's going on in this animation, you're on your way to the high society. Each of the 6 pigs plays a specific role. For example, the pig with the wind-up mouse is the journalist. When people face unfair treatment or tough times, they hope journalists will help them out. In ordinary folks' eyes, journalists are supposed to be the heroes who speak up for them and fight for justice. But here's the twist: the journalists are actually in cahoots with the big shots. The pigs fear their true nature might be exposed, so they use the journalists to stir up fake news and distract people with other events. The public, clueless about the real story, gets led astray by the wind-up mouse. Journalists, who should be uncovering the truth and bringing light to society, end up covering it up and rewriting history just to please the big shots. Do you know what these pigs represent? The pig with the slicked back hair and a little mustache is the local big shot. He symbolizes wealth and power in society, controlling the lives of most people. He's a leading figure in various industries, holding countless resources. The power of money is enormous, and most people's struggles can be solved with cash. That's why people work their butts off trying to make a better life. But in reality, they're just toiling for this wealthy figure. With a single word, he can make countless families lose everything. The pig with the white wig is the judge, representing fairness and justice, the law that's supposed to keep society balanced. So when the kittens turn into tigers and start fighting back, the first one they take down is this pig. The judge's job is to uphold justice. But here, he's on the wrong side of it. In a place where justice doesn't exist anymore, the judge's fate is pretty grim. If you can figure out this animation, you're definitely on track to becoming a future business leader. One of the pigs in a robe is the priest pig, representing human nature, values, and beliefs. People have their own faiths and religions, whether it's Jesus, God, or something else. They believe that if they're devout enough, they'll get divine protection. But is that really the case? If your faith is secretly tied up with those seeking profit, will your prayers even be heard? Just like the black cat, who stumbles into a forbidden zone just trying to survive, and ends up silenced. So where does that leave the morals and values of the common people? The pig wearing the blue tie is the ultimate power player, representing the government. Everyone, judges, journalists, the wealthy pigs, has to answer to this pig. Here's a detail: when the kittens turn into pigs, the power player switches to a pig with a red tie. This symbolizes a change in power, with the blue regime now a thing of the past and the red one taking over. What color will come next? If you get what's going on in this animation, your IQ is probably through the roof. The cats in this film are a spot-on representation of ordinary people. The white cat works its butt off and gets lost in the crowd. Some black cats try to make a big push, but end up in a tough spot. In the end, they only get a few scraps from the big shots. The elites hog most of the resources, leaving the rest of the people barely scraping by. When the pressure on people becomes too much, and they finally explode, those 6 pigs, tangled up in their own greed, can't escape their fate. They're all chained together by profit, so they'll share the spoils, but they'll also fall together. There are some telling details in the short film. When it moves to a new room, the red-tied pig uses a voting box for cutlery. The people elect a new leader, hoping things will get better. But odds are, the new pigs will be just like the old ones, still hogging resources and only caring about their own pleasure. This animation is only for the sharpest minds. In the middle of a storm, 6 pigs are feasting on a lavish dinner, while the kittens beneath the table are starving and just hoping for a scrap. All they get are leftovers, while the pigs gorge themselves greedily. The chef tears apart the room's resources to keep the pigs fed, until everything is gone, leaving the kittens to starve. At the end of the short film, during a thunderstorm, the hotel outside transforms into hell, symbolizing that while the elites call it a hotel, a place of luxury, ordinary people are actually trapped in hell, moving from one torment to another. In this hotel, only the pig's room has the lights on, while debris keeps falling, and the hotel starts to collapse. No one escapes. And that's the wrap. The film is called Dinner for Few. It's really worth watching, so check out the original. Thanks for the likes and subscriptions. Catch you next time.